Welcome in, quick hitters. We got a treat. Isiah Thomas, Detroit Piston, legend himself, weighs in on Wemby. We already know Wemby's taking a lot of heat after that finals. Performance-wise, attitude, cockiness, entitlement he seems to have. There's a lot of things going out about Wembanyama, who I cut for, who I believe will get better next season, but got some things to work on. Temperament, poise, strength, there's a few of them. Dominating that paint, pitching him a tent down there, starting inside out. Out is always going to be there. But as a big man, sitting at 7'4", you're going to make your mark in the paint. So we're going to hear it from one of the greats, all-time greats, Isiah Thomas. Came across this the other day. This is Jason Whitlock, Fearless. So you can check it out to its entirety on his channel if you're interested. We're just going to chop this thing up a little bit. We're not going to go through the full interview. Check out some few points and see what legend, great himself. He's a favorite of mine as well. How can you not like Isiah Thomas if you're about winning, toughness, smarts, resilience? That's Isiah Thomas. So let's get this show on the road.
Start with Victor Wembanyama, but we will get to Jalen Brunson because I'm going to get to beat my chest and say I was right. But Victor Wembanyama, he's been made into a villain through this NBA Finals series, through this playoff series. Do you think we're treating him fairly?
I think he's had his ups and downs, and I do think he's being treated and critiqued fairly. There's been a lot of great things said about him, and there's been some not so great things. But I think it's been pretty much balanced. He is one of the greatest players our league has ever seen already. At a very young age, he's got his team in the NBA Finals and competing for a championship. And I think he's 21 or 22 years old. Very rarely does that happen in our league. And then he's also made some mistakes. So, you have to call out the mistakes also.
Quantify one of the greatest players we've seen in our league. You already got him in the top 100. You got him in the top 50.
And just to be brief, the mistakes that Isiah Thomas is talking about is the cockiness. Him talking for sure of coming back in this series. Pretty much getting ahead of himself. If he would have just stayed quiet, and I really don't want to say stay quiet, but if he just didn't come off and say things like he's been disrespectful to the opponent, the New York Knicks, like they just can come back from a 3-1 deficit and just run the table. On top of that, he's been getting some heat about the national anthem, not participating in the national anthem. So it's checkmate coming in next season for Wembanyama. I would say you need to humble himself again, hit the reset button, come in next season, be all about work in the offseason to bring it into training camp and moving forward to open the season up. But he does need to get inside that paint. He needs to bulk up a little bit. He needs to shut his mouth and let his work speak for him. And he's going to be at the top sooner or later if he don't let his entitlement, cockiness, disrespect for teams, possibly the national anthem. We have to look a little more into that. I really haven't seen any footage of it. I just hear people talking about it. They said he even stayed in the tunnel during the national anthem on one game in these finals. So he's been exposed to a certain degree, but only he can change that coming into next season.
What? Quantify that. What do you mean by one of the greatest players we've seen in our league?
Well, I would have to say, in terms of if I was going to quantify it, then I would have to put some age brackets around it because he hasn't had the longevity comparison to other players that we would talk about. But when we talk about, guys who have come into our league and gone to the NBA Finals at 22 or at 21, there's only a handful of those guys. Magic, Kareem, him, LeBron. There's only a handful that we're talking about. Even when you go back to Wilt and Russell and those guys, so that's what I mean by it's only a few guys who have done that, and I would have to put Sampson in that category too,
That's
because
what I
I think
was.
his third year he was in the NBA Finals. There aren't very many guys who've come in and done it at this level at his age.
That's a good comparison. Ralph Sampson to Wembanyama. Wembanyama just hope his career don't turn out like Sampson. Yeah, you can see some similarities to his game, but let's just hope that don't stick throughout his career. But body type, long, lengthy, yes, there is a comparison there.
Ralph Sampson is who I literally was Googling and going to Basketball Reference, trying to figure out, hold on, when did he make the NBA Finals? Because that's who I think the comparison is. I think he's shown himself to be Ralph Sampson. And that's great, but I don't think of Ralph Sampson as one of the all-time great players. Maybe he had a chance to be before injuries, but I look at Ralph Sampson and I think Wemby's a little fragile, and it's hard for me. Like these guys in this era, I'm gonna be the old man in the room, so you don't have to be. But these guys in this era, they're not facing the kind of difficulty and resistance that you guys felt in your era. So I'm always asking them to do more than just they don't have to meet y'all standard. To me, they have to exceed it because it's a bit too easy.
Amen.
Yeah, I think Ralph Sampson is a good comparison. And had Ralph not got injured, had the benefit of a long career, we would be having a totally different conversation about him than we are today.
I I think you're right, but even as it relates to Wemby, until Wemby gets a little stronger in the low post, I'm just never going to buy in.
Well, the thing that we do know about Wemby and what we've seen thus far, he is a learner. He wants to learn. He wants to get better, and he will seek out those who he think can help improve his game. And then he's there with Duncan, Robinson, Popovich. So he's got great tutelage around him and a great library of knowledge that he has access to. Now, will he go and use that? That's a different story.
I was disappointed, and I think one of the fairest criticisms are throughout that 5-game series, it should have become real obvious to him. Hey, I have to do more consistently from in the paint. And I think he would like, oh, I'm going to do it. And then he would forget, and the 3-point line would seduce him. No, come back out here. It's less trouble. There's no cat.
Actually, those elbows to the ribs, bodying him up, made him say, yeah, let me go out here and shoot a couple of threes.
In here. There's no Mitchell Robinson in here. Come on out here and shoot these threes. I thought it became obvious after the first 2 games, hey, man, I better get my butt in the low post.
Yeah, I would say I consider myself extremely talented. And so now I'm going to transform my brain into a Wemby body, right? And that's the problem that we have as extremely talented people is that we, on the basketball court, I can do a multitude of things. And And at a young age, we have trouble simplifying and doing the simple things or the easy things that are so easy for us that we get bored with them. So we want to constantly challenge ourselves by saying, I got to get better in these areas, as opposed to what the fans and observers and people like yourself and myself watching saying, man, if you just do this one thing, hey, the game's over. But in your mind,
What Isiah is really talking about is that Wembanyama is going to figure it out. He's still young. He's going to know he needs to get in that paint. He needs to bulk up. He has no choice. Watching film, listening to all these broadcasts, how he's going to be getting drilled throughout the whole summer. All right? He's a student of the game. You don't think he's listening and watching? It will be in his best interest to come in next season to make a focal point to go down in that paint. Now, will he ever be a player that just lives down in the paint like Shaq, Duncan, Hakeem, buy in to where he's just staying down there? But I tell you what, he can mix it up. He can balance it out or lean more towards being in the paint more than he is outside. It still can work out for him. He don't have to just live down there and say, no more threes. Threes are a part of his game. That's what make him who he is. He can take you outside. He can take you inside. But to maximize his ability, he needs to be in that paint. That's why I call him the plastic man. The way this guy rebounds, the way he flicks up shots, gets his rebounds back, blocks shots. I mean, it's offense and defense with him down there in that paint. He needs to make it his home. Build towards that in the offseason, come back in. Because I'm going to tell you like this. If he was that kind of animal down in that paint, in this finals, we might be talking a different story here. But once again, like Isiah Thomas is stating out in a certain way, he's going to get it. He's young. But once he figures it out, is he going to humble himself? Or is he going to still run his mouth? Or he's still going to be entitled? He's going to be cocky, feel like the league owes him something. Because if he really thinks that way, he's going to have a wake-up call bigger than he believe. The league going to eat him up. Don't care what his talent's supposed to be. If his head is all junked up, it ain't going to go for nothing.
The complicated mind has a problem saying, you just want me to do this one thing? And we're saying, yeah, you'll win doing that one thing. He's like, but what about all the other things? If I just do this one thing, I am bored to death with the game. And his problem is now, don't get bored with success. Can you keep doing the mundane, consistent thing over and over again that helps you win, but it may not satisfy your internal drive to max out every part of the game? I don't know if that was too much, but I'm sorry if it was.
No. Look, it's harder to eat at a buffet than to go to a great steakhouse and just order the steak. You go to a buffet, everything's on the table. It's like, hey, I can do this, I can do that. And no, go eat that steak and potatoes. It's better for you. We'll win more championships that way. I'm gonna let me stick to because I don't want to make sure I ask all the right questions. Wembanyama walking off the court without shaking anyone's hands, after losing that game. Some people are analogizing it to you and the Pistons walking off the court. Was it the Celtics or the Bulls? I can't remember. Anyway, do you have a problem like I do?
Victor Wembanyama walking off the court, not shaking hands after the loss in the finals. My take on it. This one's kind of tricky because you can see both sides of it. On one hand, we understand sportsmanship. If you can shake hands and do all that stuff after a win, you should be able to do it after a loss. Certain circumstances is different, depending on the player, depending on how you're feeling, how it went. But to me, as long as you shake hands or however after the game, it don't have to be on the court, but it damn sure better be in a locker room after the game. Something. Then you got to look at the other side of it. What if you just don't like the team? Two teams are historically known. They just don't like each other. Don't like the players, don't like the team. They getting ready to celebrate on your home floor. You might just want to get out of there. I don't think it's a big deal without shaking hands. It just don't look good on his part because he ran his mouth. When they were up big, thought they had the game. I mean, they led in all of them. It's hard to pick one out. But you remember the game when Wembanyama was pointing to his head, talking about he's in his head, Mitchell Robinson's head. He actually believed they had that game won, or they were going to win it. Counting your chickens before they hatch. All of a sudden, he's talking trash. He's guaranteeing coming back in the finals and winning it. Not staying down low. Staying on the perimeter, shooting jump shot. I mean, it's a whole lot of skewed things going on with Wembanyama all at one time. He's going to have to figure it out as a young player. But for me, I don't mind not shaking hands afterwards. It depends. You have good relationships with a team, certain players. Yeah, shake your hand. It's not about losing with me. I can shake hands if I lost. But if I know you don't like me, I don't like you, get on off the court. No need to fake it. Emotions might be high where you do like some of the players on the other team or just the team in general, but your emotions run high. You're very upset you lost the game in the finals. You just get off the floor. After you calm down in the locker room, then you go to theirs and say, hey, man, congratulations on the win. Shake all the players' hands. Congratulate them. I don't see nothing wrong with that either. So it just depends on your situation. That's all. But I do understand sportsmanship. You're supposed to shake hands after a win, after a loss. Any sport. So let's make that clear. But I didn't have no problem with this situation because I know the headline. I know the story of this matchup and what's been going on throughout the series. A lot of talking, a lot of cheap shots, a lot of hits here and there. You ain't gonna want to shake no hands with nobody like that. You don't like me, I don't like you. See you next season.
With Wembanyama walking off the court without congratulating the New York Knicks?
I would say this. There's only been one non-handshake that has been memorialized in sport. We've seen a lot of non-handshakes by great players. And I'm going to go back just to the era that I played in. Whitlock, I want you to find me the film footage of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird shaking hands at the end of the NBA Finals loss. And when you find that film footage, let me know. Now, I grew up in the 80s, and, teams lost and they left the court. Now, Jordan and the Bulls beat us, and, we were leaving the court. Back in those days, you went in the opposing team's locker room after the game, and you shook hands and everything else, especially if you lost on your home floor. Because on your home floor, you didn't want to stand around and watch the other team celebrate on your home floor. You went to your locker room, you left, and you gave them the grace. You gave them the grace of celebrating on your floor without you having to stand there and watch it. That's what I remember. Now, what y'all memorialized and what y'all talked about is kind of BS, right? I've watched Brady and Manning not shake hands after games, right? I've watched, a lot of great players walk off, don't shake hands, whatever. But the only one that y'all memorialize is the Pistons. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I can't say you're wrong. I know you've given it far more thought than I
You're right, Isaiah. You're right.
have because you live the experience, and so it's impossible for me to debate you on that right now. And I don't want to re-argue you and Jordan and the Bulls. So let me just ask you: you have no problem with Wembanyama after all them cheap shots, after all the just all the extra stuff he did. He gets to walk off the court and lead most of his team off the court, where they gave no congratulations, showed no one player, Luke Cornett, showed the Knicks any respect.
I think the focus should be on the Knicks winning and celebrating. That's where the focus has always been. The focus has never and should ever be on the loser in terms of what the loser does. The focus has always been on celebrating, uplifting.
That's 100% correct. In his era, the Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, shit, even a little bit after that, nobody's worried about who lost the finals, no matter what they did. That's actually in football as well. Nobody remembers the loser in a championship game. You don't even worry about it. You don't even talk about them. Next season or 6 months in, you ask who they play against in the finals or in the Super Bowl. Man, you have to Google and research the team, who they beat in a championship game. That's how bad they've been forgotten. But like Isaiah say, in this era, we dissected and breaking down every little thing. Wembanyama walking off that floor, that shouldn't even been thought about. Nobody should even mention it because it doesn't matter. They're losers. They lost. We're celebrating the champs. But they got to make their stories. They got to blow it up. They going to wheel it in, string it out. We're in the content era. they going to milk this thing like Borden, baby.
And watching the winners win in victory, what they do, how they act, and that's how you elevate in the sport. The loser, he walks off and he lost. That's the era of sport that I grew up in. Things changed when y'all wanted everyone to all of a sudden be nice because I don't even go there, but that's when it changed, right? And that's when y'all start talking about, oh, you didn't shake hands. You never said Magic. Why didn't Magic shake Bird's hand when they lost? Why didn't Bird shake Magic's hand when they lost? You guys never, ever, ever, ever had that conversation. I was there. I watched every single contest. You guys never brought that to the forefront until this era of basketball after you criticized the Pistons.
So let me...
Now tell me if I'm wrong. Now don't just skip by it.
I cannot say you're... Look, Isaiah, like I said, I cannot say you're wrong. I cannot say you're wrong. You're fair.
Did you ever criticize Bird and Magic for not shaking hands after a championship game?
No, but I was a kid then and wasn't in the media in the 80s, and I was rooting for Magic Johnson, and so there's no telling what I was thinking at that time.
Okay, so you were rooting for Magic Johnson. When they lost to the Celtics, did you see Magic Johnson go shake Larry Bird's hand?
No, and I'm glad he didn't because back then I didn't like Larry Bird.
I'm just saying, and I can't believe you didn't like Larry Bird, and you from Indiana.
It's crazy.
You know that?
It's crazy.
How can you say that?
Well,
you truly are conflicted as a man. I understand. You grew up in Indiana, don't like Larry Bird, but you proudly say you are a Hoosier.
Yes. Yeah. And look, I love Larry Bird now, but back then I did not. And Magic Johnson at that time was my all-time favorite athlete, and I've explained that many, many times. But let me ask you this: Wembanyama, you've said there is some legitimate criticism of him, and it's been mostly fair. The legitimate, your criticisms have to do with style of play, everything on the court. I guess would be the things you would second guess about Wembanyama.
My criticism of him would be the places where he's the most dominant at is inside the paint. The places where he's most easier to guard is outside the paint at the 3-point line. Anytime he's around the basket, he's 100% dominant. When he's away from the basket, he's not as dominant. That's the only critique.
And the only one it should be at this point. Everything else is pretty much polished up once he gets strong, playing himself down there in that paint. He don't have a lot of weaknesses, but his body frame, staying in that paint, shutting his mouth, simple. Those things should be easy to work on in the offseason to come back totally different. Easy. We'll see if he'll do it.
I think I have something here that's going to impress you. And I think I have an original thought here that you've probably thought of, but I don't know if you've ever expressed it. And this is as a...
Let's try to move this along here. We'll get through it. Let's see.
By the smartest playmaker. And that's what Jalen Brunson is. That's what Isiah.
He's the great communicator. Them, you
Baller playmaker. Because, it's not like Bird. Isiah, I want to move a little bit away from the NBA Finals. Did you say something recently about the Jordan flu game not being a flu game, or it's been misbranded, or it's a made-up narrative? Did I? What was said here?
I just said we should start, as historians of the game, we should start telling the truth. And, I covered that game, and we were all told that, he had the flu. Then, since then, his doc came out, and he didn't have the flu. But we still promote that game as the flu game, when now we know it's not the flu game. The hero in that.
By the way, did anybody ever hear that story? Because it's my first time hearing that. Never know that. The flu game with Michael Jordan. I'm pretty sure a lot of people recall. Is this the first time you hearing this? That he actually didn't have the flu? That's news to me by Isiah Thomas. And we all know the relationship between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas. We know the relationship. Not fond of each other, especially Isiah Thomas after the dream team, keeping him off of it. So he enjoys saying something like this for sure. Now, but he's acting like it's factual.
That game was Scottie Pippen, who was so overlooked. Scottie Pippen basically was playing with a back that he should have been in the hospital with. But we didn't give Pippen the credit of playing in that game, and we saw Jordan leaning on Pippen. Pippen got a broke back, and he carrying Jordan off the court like he got the flu, but Pippen playing with a real broke back. So I'm just...
Oh, man. Way Isiah set that up. Boy, it made it sound bad, didn't it? On MJ part. Oh, my goodness. Say he didn't even have the flu. But the real hero is Scottie Pippen, who played that game with a broke back, carrying Michael Jordan off the floor. He said the real hero is the pimp. Boy, that Isaiah, boy, he cold blooded, ain't he?
Just saying,
Oh,
we just need to be accurate in our storytelling. That's all.
Eh, So, do you believe Jordan was sick?
He said he was sick, yeah, but it was in his doc. He said he had food poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you sick from food poisoning, but you didn't have the flu. So let's not call, you know, it, let's just be accurate and factual. That's all.
The ill game. He was ill. No, he wasn't ill.
Whatever you want to say, it's not the flu, but
Flu-like symptom game. How about that? 38 points with
however you
flu-like
want to
symptom.
say it, you can say it, but also give the guy Scottie Pippen credit too for what he was playing with, because what he was playing with was significantly much more severe than what Jordan was playing with.
Did I hear you? And I say this with affection, but I don't remember Pippen scoring 38 in that game.
No. I'm not taking
Okay.
away from what Jordan did in terms of scoring and playing. I'm just saying let's be accurate historically about what we're seeing and reporting.
Can we
That's
call it
all.
the flu symptom like and back problem game? How about
I'm not taking anything away from him.
Whitlock got problems. Whitlock got some serious problems.
I'm just saying the narrative around that game is not accurate. That's all.
finally your Detroit Pistons? Weren't they the number one seed? What happened to the Pistons during the playoffs?
They got beat. Cleveland was a handful for them, and that game 7 they came out and they were flat. I was at that game and they were just really flat, no energy, nothing, and
We'll leave it right there. Y'all want to check the full interview out? This is Jason Whitlock, Fearless. If you want to watch it to its entirety, you go over there and check it out. But let me know what y'all think, man. Wembanyama, is he entitled? Do you believe his game needs some polishing for us planting himself down in that paint coming in next season? Is he a whiner? Or you still just believe he's just playing out soft? His game never going to turn around. Do you think Isiah Thomas is hating on Michael Jordan? Do you think he still hasn't gotten over that rejection from the Dream Team? Say what you want, but he definitely enjoyed that MJ piece he put on him. But yeah, man, Wembanyama got some things to work on. Attitude is one of them. Being respectful is the other. Tighten this game up all the way around is the major. G.S.Q.H, Goodymo Sports Quick Hits. Thanks for y'all time. Time is something you can't get back, and you chose to spend it watching this video. Appreciate it. We up out of here. Peace.